Balanced debate right now. Radio talk show host David Webb helped to found the National Tea Party movement. David, good morning to you.
Good morning,
And
Bill.
radio talk show host Mark Levine's back with us too. Mark, how you doing? Good morning to you.
Good morning.
David, let's start in Kentucky. What's it mean for the Tea Party folks?
Well, it means that they've shown that the Republican Party didn't have the candidate of choice for the Republican base. But the key to this will be the independents. And what Rand Paul has to do is have that unity meeting on Saturday, sit down with the party and get everybody on board, and then keep the independents interested.
Is it your sense that he will have trouble doing that in terms of unity or not, David?
You know, right now I think that's undetermined. I think they will be successful because the Republican Party and the role of the Tea Parties is to bring the Republican Party back to its base on fiscal responsibility, limited government, those issues that are important to America.
All right. Mark Levine, what kind of a challenge is this now developing for Democrats in general, and I guess the White House in specific?
I think last night was a great night for Democrats, probably the best we've seen since President Obama's election. There was only, of course, one race where a Republican was pitted against a Democrat. That was in southwestern Pennsylvania. And Murtha's successor, Mark Kritz, did a tremendous job showing that even in a conservative district that voted for John McCain, liberalism is strong and doing very well. In fact, I think both parties that support liberty are doing well.
Let me get to that race in a moment here, and it is important, as you point out here, but for other reasons. What do you think of the challenge the Tea Party movement is presenting now to Democrats, though?
Well, I mean, he was a Tea Party guy that lost in Pennsylvania. That's why it's important. The Tea Party has shown that it is stronger than the conservative Republicans that have run this country for so long, the big spending, corporate welfare, pork barrel Republicans represented by the leader in Kentucky, Mitch McConnell. They rejected him in Kentucky, and they also rejected him in Pennsylvania. As I said, liberals and libertarians both did well last night.
Let me get to David. What do you think about that race in the 12th District of Pennsylvania? Well, Murtha had it for years. It stays in Democratic hands. Republicans thought they could take that. I don't know if it shows the strength of the Democratic candidate in the 12th District or whether or not it suggests that statewide race in the Senate level in the Democratic primary drew Democrats to the voting booth.
There's no surprise in Pennsylvania. You go to the middle to the western half of the state. There's a heavy libertarian streak. The Democrats were solid. Murtha was very solid in that district. They have a good machine, and the Republicans would have had a tough chance no matter what. So no surprise there. Now, the Democrats are going to point to this as good for Democrats. Mark just said best thing since Obama. I'm sorry, but Murtha's seat, Mark, doesn't define what's going to happen in November, and the tact that Democrats and especially progressives are taking is that the Tea Party is this far-right group. It's not. And it's a nice try, but it's not the facts.
Mark?
Well, I think I should give credit to Rand Paul. He is a consistent ideologue. I knew his father, Ron Paul, very well when I worked in Congress. And this is a man that voted no on everything. No on every highway bill, no on any disaster aid, like for the people of Tennessee, no on any military spending. Now, if that's what Republicans want, I got to give Rand Paul and Ron Paul credit. They are consistent, unlike the conservatives, Mitch McConnell, who's busy bailing out Wall Street.
Well,
so
David,
I'm really glad to see a libertarian come to the fore. I think it'll be a very interesting race. And let's also point out very quickly, Joe Sestak, the real Democrat, beating back former Republican Arlen Specter, another win for Democrats.
I've got to run. David, does Ron Paul stand a good chance in November? Or, I mean, you alluded to this in your first answer. How big is that hurdle for him, that challenge in Kentucky?
Well, the big hurdle is for the Tea Parties and the GOP to get back together and do what they're supposed to do. Get on the fiscal issues, get on the issues that are important to the people of Kentucky. If they don't, they're going to have a tough battle. But the Democrats are losing because of big spending, big government, entitlement programs, health care, which is not what it's supposed to be. They just simply haven't put anything out there that the American people want or can chew on by a large majority.
Gentlemen, thank you. David Webb, Mark Levine. To be continued. It shall for the next 6 months and thereafter. Thank you, guys. Martha.
Well, there's lots of political battles.